Welcome back to Capture Convos, the podcast where I talk with videographers, photographers and content creators about their career journeys, standout moments and the behind the scenes moments that don't always get to be seen. And today I'm very, very happy to be joined by a multidisciplined filmmaker. It is ROWAN PROSSER.
I'll take that as an That's
Yeah.
That makes me sound better than I am, I think, but I'll definitely take it. Thank you.
Let's take it back to the very beginning, really. Firstly, do you want to give a bit of a rundown of your career background and what kind of roles you've been in, what you're up to now, basically?
Yeah, career journey so far. I mean, I started in football. I always say this to my mates. I started in the dream job. Like I'm a Bournemouth fan. I got an internship at AFC Bournemouth in the Premier League. Like, as a football fan and a Bournemouth fan, doesn't really get much better than that.
No, definitely
not. I started as an intern, did that for a year, absolutely worked my socks off, which was worth it because it was unpaid, but they then offered me a part-time job. So whilst I was in my last year of uni, I was a junior video producer. So I was at AFC Bournemouth for 2.5 years. And then after that, I moved over to Norwich as a full-time video producer. That was during COVID, so that was a crazy season. You know, Bournemouth got relegated. I got told I wasn't going to be able to carry on my job there because they couldn't really afford to give me a full-time job with relegation. But just as that happened, Norwich reached out and were like, we want to work with you because a guy who used to work at Bournemouth moved to Norwich and he was like, I'm bringing you across. So I feel very lucky for that to have happened.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because it was a year where not a lot of new jobs were popping up, let alone video producer jobs. So I feel very indebted to Dan for taking me across to Norwich. And then I was there for 1.5 years and then took the big old leap from working in-house in football to being a freelance videographer, camera operator, video editor. Pretty much anything I could get my hands on, I'd try and do to pay the bills and be freelance.
So you're now a self-described multidisciplinary filmmaker, judging what you just said then?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I think some people come to me and go like, oh, what are you? Like, are you a camera operator? Are you an editor? And I'm like, I do a bit of everything, really. Like, I've done this year, I've been paid to direct, I've been paid to edit, I've been paid to film. I wear many hats, I like to say. And, you know, I like to keep it different every week. It's fun to work in different roles. I think my brain definitely thrives in everything being different every week. So I do like the multidisciplinary kind of approach to my job.
Well, I'm guessing that is something that helps you stay excited in your job, as well as the obvious passion you have for all things film related or videography related, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it definitely keeps it more interesting. I do think as I'm getting older, I'm now kind of going, ooh, I do slightly prefer the directing and filming side over the editing, but I can't deny that I can edit. I like editing, and to be fair, editing jobs are quite consistent, whereas filming jobs, they kind of, you know, come and go. So at the moment, it's allowing me to work a lot more, having like that extra string to my bow in editing. So
yeah.
For now, I'll keep it, but maybe one day I'll leave it behind.
Yeah, it opens up a lot more opportunities as well, yeah. Doesn't it, for you? Yeah. But if I take it back to you working within sport, obviously football, which you spoke about then, do you think, specifically football, working in an industry like that and as competitive as that is, do you think it's quite an underappreciated role of how hard people in the role that you are working in actually work? It's so unsociable hours as well, isn't it?
It's unsociable hours, it's long days, it's brutal turnarounds for content that maybe, for example, you could work on a project for a whole week, your team loses, it still has to go out, but nobody cares about content if your team's just lost.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the brutal reality of sport. And something that even if you play well and your content goes out, it's relatively, I think it's like people only really care about it for 24 hours and then they move on to the next thing. It's always what's next. And so starting there with such a brutal industry of working long, constantly trying to be like, yes, this is amazing. Oh wait, now we're not on to the next thing was Yeah, it was a big learning curve. And it's quite funny, actually, because I always say it, that job teaches you so many skills working in sport that now it's funny as a freelancer. A lot of the people that I find myself working with, we all started our careers as in-house in sports. You know, so I work with a lot of the guys. One of the guys was at Burnley, one was at Derby, you know, a few at Norwich, West Ham, and now we're all freelancers. And it's just like, yeah, that taught us so many of the base skills. And you can kind of tell when someone's not worked in sport, because they'll be like not used to the crazy turnarounds of film a game and then it's like content's out. Like it's not next day. It's
that evening, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll drive home from Old Trafford and you're editing the match day highlights in the car. Like if you get sick, like you just gotta keep going because the highlights need to be out. Like the fans don't care. But it's good memories. So
yeah, 100%. Especially like you said, you're a Bournemouth fan working for your club. That must have been quite a privileged position to be in, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I will never forget the day that Eddie Howe called me into his office and sat me down saying, "Rowan, I want to make a video for the boys for the start of the season. I want to motivate them." And we made a video together, me and Eddie Howe. As like a 19-year-old, I was like, "This is insane," and he gave me good feedback. Like it wasn't crazy feedback. It was like, "Oh, I think you should use the Sky Sports commentary instead of the official Prem commentary." And I was just like, "How did you know that there was?" What? And then he actually played it on the first game of the season, and afterwards said, "Like it was really well received. Thank you so much. We'll do another video," and that meant a lot. And still now to this day, I have a great relationship with the club. I go back freelance working with them a couple of times a year because for them it's handy to have someone that knows the club, and they know obviously I love the club as well. So I'm never going to betray them. So it's been a bit of a dream job, that one, to start there 8 years ago and still be able to come back.
Yeah, that must have felt really surreal though. Just working directly with the current, well, not current now, but obviously the manager at the time, working directly with him and him giving you feedback on your work.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a bit of a club legend as well, isn't he? He got us from League Two all the way to the Premier League. So
yeah,
to have that kind of like one-on-one moment with, you know, the longer I was there, the more I had a more professional mindset. But you always had a little bit of your fan self, you know, just hidden under a shirt. And I think that was one of those moments where I was like, I couldn't believe what I was doing and who I was working with.
Yeah,
at such a young age, like didn't think it was possible.
Bit of a pinch me moment, really, wasn't it?
100%.
Yeah. Right, so you covered the sport and stuff like that, but there's obviously more to your. Well, you got. I don't know what the words I'm looking for is, but you've worked in different areas of video, like broadcast. You worked in TV, sports, obviously commercials, and obviously the YouTube side of it as well. So my question is really, how do you find that? Like, is there a switch so you have to try and find and flick to go between them different, in different areas? Does that make sense?
Yeah, there is a bit of a switch because filming for example, even now, like I shoot content for the Premier League, DAZN, that kind of more serious television style, and then you swap to like, you know, you're shooting for Willne, you're shooting for the Sidemen. There is a bit of like a different style to how they feel. It's a lot more. It's got a lot more personality to it. Like, you know, I see a lot of people being like, it's just crash rooms, and it's like it is, but it's like you're interacting with the guys. You're aware of your surroundings. It can be one of those things where if I shoot YouTube for too long and then I swap back to the other thing, it's like, oh, hang on, okay, right, let's get my head screwed back on.
Yeah,
this is a different world. But I think now I've been doing it back and forth for a few years now that I think I've finally got my head round it. But it is a different approach. It's not quite as the same thing every day.
Yeah, so you've obviously mentioned YouTube and stuff then. So you had a close relationship working with Callux for his studio after party, didn't you? So what was that like, going into, obviously you stepped out of just being his own, not just him and a camera when obviously YouTube all first started, but then he stepped out into having this big thing just around him and his content. What was that like, working for somebody like him?
Yeah, well, After Party is actually the way that I got in with Lux in the first place. So I actually did a job whilst I was still at Norwich. I filled in for my mate who was doing a director's assistant job for an after party shoot, and it's there I then met them and they introduced me to Cal, and then obviously worked with Cal for a long time and then went back. But it's so impressive. When people don't know about after party, they just know obviously Callux as a YouTuber, or they know two ways.
Yeah.
Like after party, if anything, is the crown jewel. Like they are such an impressive media company agency for the space that they're in the UK scene, in that they're digital first content, and they perfectly pair that with influencers. They know how to make content that makes sense online. I don't know about you, but it really irritates me when I see big brands making content. I'm like, why is this on social? It has no relevance. Or you see people just throwing influencers into TV shows and thinking that will do well. I think that's what After Party does that's so impressive. And you can see it in the adverts they do. You know, I think they did, was it a Revolut ad with Munya Chihuahua, which was really funny. And then they did,
I think I've seen that one,
They recently did a Rods commercial with Willne, and like it's using influencers and making unbelievable adverts. And being involved in, you know, I do a lot of their sports YouTube stuff at the moment. It's just, it's a joy to work with them. They're crazy creatives. They're so good fun.
It's one thing to have the influencers on board of these big brands and stuff, but like you said, After Party, do you think they have a very, very good understanding of matching the right personalities to the right projects?
Yeah, they definitely do. And like, I definitely think a huge reason why they do so well is that Ben, also known as Rubber Duck, who's one of the founding members, he actually was Lux's videographer before me. So I took over from him, and his understanding of the scene is incredible, because he was obviously in that scene when it was first getting really, really big, and then took more step into being a creative director. But they're great. They've got like their book of influencers must be massive, because I feel like they know everyone.
I feel like I have to touch on it though. The other time with Callux, how he stitched you up, getting in front of the camera.
He did stitch me up, but I think what's funniest is everyone thinks that's legit, but I to pull back the curtain, I knew that was happening. I was completely acting in that.
Well, you had me fooled, that's for sure.
I know. Everyone was like, "You knew about it?" I was like, it was my idea. I was like, "We need a good date show idea, and I feel like we need to fool someone that people are aware of." And I was like, "I've been in a few of the videos." I was like, "I'm happy for you to completely embarrass me." I think if I hadn't have known about it, I would have not been. I'd have been zipped quiet, like, what is going on?
Did you? Were you? I'm assuming you weren't the one to title that video, though, were you?
No, to be fair, I didn't title the video. That's but I approved it all. I was like, that's fine, get it out there. So it's not many people really remember that was me though. So I'm still fine with that being out there. So
what was the whole thought process behind that then? Obviously being pre-planned and stuff. What was the process behind that?
Behind making that video?
Yeah.
To be fair, it was actually a multi-shoot day. So we were supposed to make the game show 4 times. So the idea was we'd film one concept of being about surprising my cameraman, stitching him up. So that was one. Another was we were supposed to get a couple of other YouTubers in to film that series as well, with just the more generic YouTube style, because it was at the time when the Jubilee kind of concepts were doing really, really well.
Yeah.
So I was like, we just need to kind of jump on it. We'd done a few White Code videos that had done about 4 million and then had done about 40 million across TikTok. And I was like, as much as Cal hated doing them, and as much as I was just like, I want to make really, cool stuff, and not always the coolest, the White Codes, but they do views, and it's important at the end of the day to make a bit of revenue. So that was the thing, to be fair. And on the day, two YouTubers pulled out, and so me and then Lux also did it, and then Lux hated his episode, and then I was just like, well, we're gonna have to put mine out then. Mine was actually safety. It was like, oh, maybe we'll turn Rowan's into an episode. So, oh well, it's out there now.
That's right. You had fun doing it as well, by the looks of things, anyway. So. Right, if we move the conversation a bit more, so you said that you obviously did the jump into freelance.
Yes.
There's obviously a route that a lot of videographers are making these days. Why did you feel like the time was right, and why did you feel like that was the right decision for you in your career?
I say that, yeah, it's funny because I look back and I go, what on earth was I thinking? Because I didn't have enough kit. I had about 2 jobs lined up, and I also decided to move to London where I didn't really know anyone. So looking back, it feels crazy that it paid off and that I'm where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But I mean, the main reason was that I was just, I felt like I wasn't getting pushed enough, and in my job in football, in that I was like, this was my 4th season in football, felt very repetitive. I wanted to take a step. I wanted to work with people that I knew were better than me, because I was just like, I'm too young to think I'm the best.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you know, I don't want to be the best at my craft until maybe I'm 45, 50 years old, and I look back and I go, yeah, I should be here. So I think I was looking around, being like, and it was the same. I was worked with another 2 young guys at Norwich, and we were all really hungry to learn off of someone else. And I had that when I was at Bournemouth. There was a couple of guys that worked there, James and Gribbo, who were older than me, who taught me everything I know now about cameras. But I think I was getting to a point where I was like, I want to be uncomfortable. And for me, the only natural step felt like freelance. Mm-hmm. I couldn't really find... I was looking for in-house videographer jobs, but it was like, you'd be the only videographer, or this, that. And I was just like, yeah, I don't want to be on a... You know, I think it was an FS5 at the time. I was just like, I want to be learning with the new cameras and upskilling and pushing myself. So that was the major driving force, which was a bit of a scary one, because for the good first 6 months, I was working on jobs on my own. So the only thing I was learning was kind of business skills and how to manage clients. So a different skill set than I was maybe wanting. But then I got to a position where, you know, 4 years later, I'm now working on, you know, studio shoots with upwards of 10, 20 crew members. So it's like, I got there eventually. So I'm glad I pushed myself. But yeah, it was a rocky first year for sure.
What was the reaction from like your loved ones and stuff when you told them that's what you were going to do? I can imagine your parents probably had something to say about it.
Oh yeah, I think my parents were like maybe wait another year. And I was just like, yeah, that's not, yeah. And then my dad was like, you know, if you've got your 6 months savings or whatever, like, yeah, fine, do it. And I was like, I've got 6 months savings. No, I didn't. And, you know, I did not make good financial decisions. I think I took out about $1,000 worth of finance every month, because I bought myself a camera, lens, mics. So that first year was just like working to pay the bills and then quickly pay off my debt, because I was just like, I need equipment. But it worked out. But no, there were some looks, but they backed me at the same time. You know, my parents have been pretty amazing in that degree of. I knew if I was ever really in trouble, they probably would step in and help me out. But I was definitely stubborn. I was like, I can do this on my own. So.
And the stubbornness paid off.
And the stubbornness paid off. Yeah, exactly. No, I remember when I first got to Norwich, and I said to my dad, I was like, you know, I was like really down about the amount of money you could make as a videographer, because if you look on LinkedIn and stuff, you know, 25 to 30k, I was like, this is the max I'll ever make in my career. I'm never going to make anything for myself. And he's like, chin up, lad, come on, push yourself. You never know where you'll get to. And he was right. You know, I thought I was going to be stuck working as a video producer my whole life, which is a great job, but I was just like, I mean, when I was at uni, I dreamed of directing Hollywood movies. So, you know, it was a reality check going from Hollywood movies to working as a video producer. But then I've quickly learned I love that more than I think I would have been a Hollywood director.
Is it still something you want to do though?
No,
definitely not.
I hate to say it, because I feel like if my uni lecturers saw this, who were all TV producers, I now say that my remit is I am a digital first creator. Like, I'm a digital first creative director, camera operator. Like, all of the stuff I make and my knowledge and my mindset is geared towards digital first content. I just think that's where I thrive, and that's where I think I've learned, actually, if you look at the space, digital content is just like on an upwards trend.
Yeah, definitely.
TV and Hollywood are kind of going like this. They won't go off, but the money and the jobs and I think where we're going as a society is in the digital space. So I think it would be naive to put to then just throw my eggs in the film basket.
Yeah, the digital space like YouTube and stuff. Like, I was talking to Harry for my last episode, my first episode. Sorry, do you know Harry G-Film?
I know G-Film, yeah.
Yeah, he was saying how he's finding it nuts how now that the YouTube app is the number one watched on TV when it's obviously made for mobile devices originally.
This is what I go around saying to everyone. It's the number one stream platform on televisions.
Yeah. More
so than Netflix. I think it's more than 4 different streaming platforms put together, because Netflix is 9%, but Disney's only like 3% and Amazon's 3%. So it's like Disney, Amazon and Hulu combined still don't make up YouTube numbers.
I don't think I've ever even gone onto Hulu.
Right. I think it's an American thing, but
yeah.
I think I have to sometimes say that when people hear that they work in YouTube, they're like, oh, and I'm like, yeah, but the productions for some of these YouTube shoots are crazy.
Yeah, they are on par with these top TV studios now, aren't they?
I mean, on a Sidemen shoot I did 3 weeks ago, there was 15 camera operators.
Yeah, that's not a small scale shoot at all, is it?
Video, I mean, it's done 12, 14 million views, so like, yeah, understandable. That's way more than I think any broad daytime television show does. It's just, yeah, it's mind-boggling, the numbers, and I don't think some generations have maybe caught on to the fact that that is now the new daytime television for everyone under the age of 35.
Yeah, it's the present and the future, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
So let's go to the more traditional, the traditional media that you've worked on.
Yes.
You've worked with some quite high-profile brands, haven't you? So the likes of Adidas, Spotify. You said TNT earlier on. What's that like? Do you remember your first time when you stepped into a shoot for these big companies, and how did you feel? But I'm assuming you were very, very nervous, probably, about your first one with these big brands.
Yeah, there's something about working for a brand with a big name that you just you start to question your worth. You're like, what am I doing here? Am I supposed to be here?
Yeah.
But actually, you quickly find that the scene's not too different from what you've worked on, and I think I've got very lucky. I've worked with big brands that somehow have hired just really great people. So the TNT stuff that I did last year was some of my favourite work, and worked with some of the best people I've worked with. And every now and then I'll bump into them on a shoot, and we'll just be like, "Oh, I'm glad the series ended." Like, it was so much fun creating these films up and down the country, and it comes with different expectations and stresses. There's a lot more red tape working in those kind of things with those brands. A lot more in the YouTube scene. I think there's a lot more give, but I think in those kind of scenes you gotta give your best. And I've definitely come home very stressed if I felt like I haven't given my best. I think that's an age thing. I think that's I was 20, I was 25, 26 for some of these, working with some of these, global brands. I think in the creative space, it's quite easy to feel replaceable. So if you don't give your best, you feel like, is that it for me? But I think that's the importance of working with good people. It's the good people know that even if you haven't given your best, that's okay. You'll be able to deliver again. They're sure. So I've felt blessed in that sense.
Yeah, kind of closely related to that though, like the creative space in general, like everyone says it's about who you know and stuff like that. That just kind of reinforces that point, really, doesn't it? It doesn't matter, obviously, to get somewhere in the first place, it helps to know people as well. But when you're in a space, getting to know them people and building up them healthy relationships, like that probably counts more than getting to know somebody in the first place, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And to be fair, my wife says it's my best skill. Is she says, in any other world, everyone hates their first day at a new job because it's like meeting these people. And she's like, but she says, your job is like your first day of the job all the time because you're always meeting new people, you're always working with people.
Okay, I kind of get that.
I think I've come to kind of thrive in those situations. I really enjoy meeting new creative people, picking their brains, seeing like, what they've done and how they've got there. And I think it is a big part of the job. It's turning up, getting there is one thing, and then I think the other thing is just being able to get on with these people and build quick friendships or relationships with them. So then you're bouncing your ideas off each other. You're able to, especially if you're shooting together, it's kind of working up, okay, they're quite reactive in that way, so I need to counter react. If, you know, especially with the YouTube scene when we're shooting, you know, every which way.
Yeah.
I think one of the most important things about the creative space at the moment is it's just being open to meeting new people and getting on with them. I think if you're too closed off in this industry, people unfortunately aren't too receptive. I think people want to have not only a good time, but they want to be able to like be open with you and honest. Like feedback's super important. I think you need to be able to take feedback. I think if you react badly to feedback,
oh yes, if you can't react to having feedback, then
I've seen it before. Someone's given someone feedback and they've got really, really upset about it and got quite cross, and I'm like, I don't know what to say, mate. Like,
yeah,
we're paid to be here. We've just got to react to it. If that's the feedback, that's the feedback. So, yeah.
But it is very rare, though. I don't think I could ever say that there's probably a couple of anomalies to the trend, but like being in different places and stuff like that, like I do part-time work for Swansea, and the amount of different people that come through into the stadium every other weekend, I don't think I've come across someone who's not very receptive and doesn't want to have a conversation with you.
No, which I think is good. I think it's one of the main differences in our industry compared to film and TV. I don't know how you found it, but I always, before I'd even worked as like a runner on Mock the Week and stuff like that, been told, careful, it's a really toxic industry. Just be careful. There's like, and so you went in kind of with your guard up. And I unfortunately have witnessed quite a lot of the bad practices in TV and film that people warn me about. And I think a lot of people that now work in the creative digital space have almost come in going, well, this isn't how we want the space to be. Like, we want it to be more upbeat. We want people to be able to chat to each other. We want people to be excited to be there. Where I feel like TV and film, you're excited to be there, but you're also kind of fearful about the way you're going to get treated.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, well, you've obviously had more experience than me, but it's obviously not a good reputation for the industry to have, is it? To have people coming in and feeling quite anxious and a bit afraid, to want of a better word, when they're stepping in.
Yeah, no, it's not. But I do genuinely think it's changing. I do think people are speaking up. But I think you just have to. I every now and then I'll check in with the Beck 2 reports, and you see like the levels of you know, issues of mental health within people working on set, and the crazy hours they do in TV and film. And I mean, even now the industry in the UK is really struggling for consistent work, and it's just it's sad to see, really, to be fair, because it's
it is.
We make some sick content over it, but yeah, it does seem like it's an industry that is hard to navigate. So I'm glad that it feels like in the creative space, at least, we're learning from it.
Yeah, as we should do, really, because it is the future, and I hope that the traditional media, the film and your TV, that they could hopefully learn a lesson from what is happening within the digital space, the YouTube space.
For sure.
There we go. That was a very mature conversation. That one was.
That was. I didn't expect to have a conversation about that.
No, but did I? But no, that's why I like.
I was thinking it was just going to be chats about crazy things that I've filmed, because I filmed some weird things. That's the only thing with YouTube, isn't it? You some of the things I've done, it doesn't feel quite real.
What have you filmed? Go on, spill the beans now. You've brought it up.
Oh,
some of the personalities you've worked with, or.
Well, no, it's just weird. Like, somebody will be like, "What are you doing today?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I'm here. I'm at an Airbnb on an island." And they're like, "What? Why? Are you on holiday?" I'm like, "Oh, no, we're just spending the day there, rating the Airbnb." And it's like, "What are you doing this week?" It's like, "Oh, I'm filming a YouTuber racing from Lima, Peru to Machu Picchu." And they're like, "What?"
It's very random, isn't it?
It's you never know what to expect. You know, I look at, like, even now, it's like I'm working on some corporate-y stuff. I'm working on stuff with the 100, the cricket competition, and then I'm also going back to South America with Willne next month. So it's just everything's a bit random and different, and yeah, I still have to pinch myself to be like, what, like, this is crazy, you know. But YouTube is hilarious. It is one of those things where you'll leave for work in the morning, and my Naomi will ask me where I'm going, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm doing this today," and she's like,
she'll ask you in a month or so, and you go, "I'm just going to South America," just casually.
No,
it sounds like a very, very exciting scene to work in.
It is. It's not as large a scene as well as I think people think. There's a lot of crossover. A lot of us know each other really well. We actually got a group chat with a lot of the YouTube camera operators in. We've all kind of worked with each other across pretty much most things. And yeah, no bad eggs, to be fair. Most of I couldn't speak ill against any of the guys that shoot YouTube videos. They're good fun to work with, but we also all know you kind of know when's the time to like stay quiet and just knuckle down and film what's in front of you. So yeah, it's a fun one to be involved with.
Oh, I'm not surprised to hear that. To see some of the personalities and stuff that we watch every week, every day.
Yeah, and they're great as well. I think a lot of people expect me to be like, this guy's a div or this is that. And I've yet to work with a bad UK YouTuber. You know, they're all super impressive as well. That's another thing, is they are the future of brands. They're the future of marketing agencies. They are, you know, people just see them as YouTubers, but they've got there for a reason. They have incredible ideas and they know what they're doing when they're making content.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And they're great to learn off of as well. Just asking questions about why they thought that would work when it did work. It's like, how did you know that was going to work? So, yeah, very cool in that regard.
Perfect. So just coming to near the end, but I like to finish each episode with some quick fire questions.
Okay.
Okay, as quick as you can. Okay.
Okay.
But nothing too strenuous at all. So first one, your favourite or go-to camera?
FX3.
Nice and quick. A videographer whose work you admire?
Ian Thomas.
Ian Thomas. Perfect. What's his Instagram handle? Get up on screen.
I think it legit is like Ian Thomas.
It is just Ian Thomas. Okay,
I think
perfect.
He's Will's videographer, a close friend of mine, and I think he's awesome.
Perfect. Freehand or gimbal?
Freehand.
Premiere or Final Cut?
Premiere.
Favourite thing about your job? This one could be a bit longer if you want.
No, I'll keep it short. Meeting new people. I love it. I love working with people. I think it's great fun to be able to work with so many different people.
Very short and sweet. That's a lot. That was a lot quicker than I anticipated.
You said that was quick.
That was quite quick. But the last one is who's one creative who you think should come onto this podcast? Someone who you think might have some good stories to tell. Someone's got maybe an inspiring background story, anything like that.
Who's got a good story to tell?
Or they just might be a fun character, you know, something like that.
I know a lot of fun characters. I don't know who you've got signed up. You've just told me Harry's been on. He would have been a good shout already, but he's done it. Who did he recommend?
He recommended Lewis Bowden.
Oh, that's a good shout. Who's a good one? Frampton. Harry Frampton.
Harry Frampton.
He is the head editor and camera operator for Burnt Chip.
Sold.
We went to uni together.
Mm-hmm.
I knew of him. Same with Proddy or Cal. Now we were all at uni together, but didn't know each other until afterwards. Prod's a good one as well. Actually, he'd probably have some interesting chat.
It really is a small world, isn't it? How you went to university. Well, So you said you didn't know them in university, did you?
No, so I knew of them. So Cal actually ran the radio station, hilariously, because obviously went to do podcasts, and I had a radio show on there. So I knew of him, and I knew Frampton because he was friends with Matt, and Matt is Cal Freezy's editor. So it's a very, very small world. Before we even got into the world, we all knew each other. But the stuff he does on Chip's channel is insane. Like, some of the edits, I think, are so clear. Like, he doesn't get enough praise, I don't think, for the work he does. I've done a bit of work with them over the years, and I think he's cool. There
we go. Perfect. I'll have to get him on. So
yeah, definitely.
That's the end of that's the end of all we got time for. But Rowan, thanks for joining me. It's been great. I've loved every single. Well, it was quite deep at times, actually, didn't it?
Yeah, actually, didn't it?
It did get quite deep.
Should have stuck to the script. Should have stuck to what I film.
Okay, that's perfect. So be sure to drop a comment, like and subscribe. Follow on Instagram and TikTok at Capture Convos Pod, and I shall see you next time.
When I look at the sun